The 318 Project is based out of Bismarck and was created to speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves regarding human trafficking. They educate, advocate, and raise awareness in order to prevent human trafficking, which is a huge issue. We have Stacy Schaffer, the founder of the 318 Project, here to tell us more about the causes and impact of human trafficking. Hello, Stacy.
Hi, thanks for having me.
First of all, can you explain to us what is human trafficking and the types of human trafficking that there is?
Yes, so human trafficking is modern day slavery. So if you hear that term slavery, human trafficking is another phrase for it. And the types of human trafficking that we see here in North Dakota are both sex trafficking and labor trafficking. So some of the industries where we might see this occurring include online, through social media, hotels, motels, agriculture, restaurants, cleaning services, even truck stops, just to name a few. We also see it in other areas, but just to give you a sense of where human trafficking occurs.
Now, would you say that there are certain maybe portions of our population that could be more susceptible to this, maybe those under 18 or the Native American population?
Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely. Over the past couple of months, there's been a misconception that adults cannot be victims of human trafficking, when in fact they can. In North Dakota, since January 1st, 2016, we have actually worked with 482 victims, and 349 of those were adults, and 133 were minors. And it's important to note that 80% of those victims that have been served are actually from North Dakota. So there's often that misconception, too, that this doesn't happen to North Dakotans, when in fact it does. The average age in which someone can be trafficked is 12 to 14, which is why we spend so much time educating schools, as well as that 12 to 14-year range, to give them the tools they need to help combat trafficking. And then, of course, within reservations, it is something that we do see occurring across the state.
Now, you mentioned a little bit what you're doing to combat human trafficking in North Dakota, going into schools and stuff like that. And I suppose it takes, collaborating with other entities within the state to get this done.
Yes. Absolutely. We partner with the North Dakota Human Trafficking Task Force as well as YouthWorks. And then within rural communities, we work with agencies as well, such as the Watford City Human Trafficking Task Force. Even though we're located in Bismarck, we are statewide. So whichever community we're working in, we make sure to talk with the community and see what the community's needs are before figuring out who needs the most education. Is it in the school? Is it the general public? Law enforcement, or even the medical community.
So right now we are, actually educating people who are listening. How does a person recognize and prevent human trafficking? What should they do?
So there's a few different indicators that can show us that, hey, this could potentially be a case of human trafficking. And some of those indicators might be the person might look fearful, timid, or anxious. They might be around somebody who seems very controlling, controls the conversation. They might have bruises in various different stages of healing. They might not make eye contact, and they might not have their identification documents, just to name a few things. But what we tell people, if you suspect that you see a case of human trafficking, whether it's at your local grocery store or maybe it's at church, we ask that you not intervene, because these can be dangerous situations, but rather write down everything you see. So if they have a tattoo or a birthmark, what color hair do they have? And if they get in a vehicle, what vehicle are they driving, as well as what license plate? And then we ask that you use that information and you either call local law enforcement, or we also have a national human trafficking hotline that's operated by the Polaris Project that people can use as well. And that number, just so people have it, is 888-373-7888.
And it just takes one person to speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves.
Yes. And, a third of our cases are actually reported by people in the community that saw something and they just had a feeling that what was happening wasn't right, and they made that phone call.
Trust your gut.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Definitely trust your gut.
Now, you have a project has a website where people can get more information anytime, maybe set something up to have you guys come into a school or, share more information. What is the website?
It's 318project.org.
And there's various ways that people can get involved, too.
Yes, oh, definitely. Like you made a good point, whether it's inviting us to come in and host a presentation or just simple things like if you're part of a book club, maybe you read a book on human trafficking and you have a discussion or watch a documentary. Education goes a really far way. So just by taking the education you learn and then sharing it with someone else will help us in combating this crime.
Human trafficking, it is a huge issue here in North Dakota. Now, is there anything that we should be sure to mention today, Stacy?
No, I feel like you really covered it well, and I would just say that, going back to that gut feeling, if anybody has questions or, suspects a case of human trafficking, we ask that you definitely reach out. And here at 318 Project, we're always available to answer any questions you might have as well regarding this topic.
That's Stacy Schaffer, founder of the 318 Project, based out of Bismarck, North Dakota. There's more information at their website, 318project.org.